Why do you miss people who made you miserable? Not people who were good for you, not people who brought peace. I'm talking about the person who confused you, hurt you, stressed you out, made you overthink everything, and somehow still lives in your head like they were the love of your life. Why does your brain do that? Why would it crave the person who caused the pain? If you've ever missed someone you know was bad for you, this video isn't about weakness. It's about the dark psychology of what happens when your brain gets attached to the wrong person. Your brain can get hooked on uncertainty. One of the biggest reasons people miss unhealthy relationships is something called intermittent reinforcement. The idea is simple. If someone is kind, loving, and consistent, your brain can relax. It knows what to expect. But if someone is warm one day and cold the next, your brain stays alert. The reward becomes unpredictable. And unpredictable rewards are powerful. Think of a slot machine. If it paid out every time, it would be boring. If it never paid out, people would stop. But if it pays out sometimes, people keep pulling the lever. Emotionally inconsistent people can do the same thing to the brain. If someone hurts you, disappears, and then comes back with affection or just enough warmth to give you hope, your brain can become more attached, not less. Now you're not just bonding, you're chasing the next good moment, the next reassuring text, the next version of them that feels loving again. That's why the relationship can start to run on a loop. Uncertainty, craving, reward, relief. And once your brain gets used to that loop, the person becomes more than a person. They become a reward pattern. So when they leave, you're not just grieving them, you're also coming down from the cycle your brain got trained on. 2. Missing someone does not always mean they were good for you. When people say, "I miss them," that can mean a lot of different things. Sometimes you miss the person, but sometimes you miss the routine, the attention, the validation, the way they texted you every morning, the way your day felt structured because they were part of it. Sometimes you miss the future you imagined with them, the version of the relationship you hoped it could become. And sometimes you miss the feeling of being chosen, distracted, or emotionally stimulated. You miss having someone to think about, decode, or wait for. That's why you can know logically, this person was bad for me, and still feel your chest tighten when you think about them. Logic and attachment are not the same thing, and attachment is usually louder. 3. The person who hurt you may also have been the person who soothed you. In some unhealthy relationships, the same person who causes the pain also becomes the person who temporarily relieves it. They ignore you, then comfort you. They create anxiety, then give reassurance. They pull away, then come back and make you feel wanted again. That creates a dangerous pattern because your nervous system starts learning. When I feel bad, I need the same person who hurt me to make me feel okay again. So now the brain is not just attached to the person, it's attached to the relief they provide after the distress they created. That relief can feel a lot like love if you don't realize what's happening. This is why people can feel so pulled towards someone who objectively made them miserable. Their system learned to connect that person with emotional regulation, even if the relationship was chaotic and costly. So after the breakup, when your brain says, "I miss them," it may really mean, "I miss the person my nervous system learned to run to when things felt unbearable." That doesn't make the relationship healthy, it just makes the attachment stronger. 4. Familiar pain can feel safer than unfamiliar peace. Humans don't only chase what's good for them. A lot of the time, they chase what's familiar, and familiar pain can feel strangely comforting. Not because it feels good, but because your brain knows how to function inside it. It knows the rules. It recognizes the emotional pattern. If someone grew up around inconsistency, emotional distance, criticism, or instability, then a chaotic relationship can feel normal, not healthy, just familiar. And when something feels familiar, the brain often mistakes that for meaning. So when a painful relationship ends, part of the loss is not just the person, it's the pattern. It's the emotional world your brain adapted to. It's the role you learned to play. The fixer, the chaser, the one trying to hold everything together. That's why peace can feel uncomfortable after chaos. If your system got used to monitoring someone's mood, waiting for replies, or bracing for emotional whiplash, then calm can feel empty at first, boring, wrong. One of the hardest parts of unhealthy attachment is that it can make dysfunction feel alive, while peace feels unfamiliar. Hey, thank you for sticking this far into the video. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe as it supports the channel. Now back to the video. 5. Your memory is not a security camera. Another reason people miss harmful relationships is that memory is not objective. Your brain does not store relationships like raw footage. It edits them. After someone is gone, it often builds a highlight reel. It shows you the late-night talks, the chemistry, the inside jokes, the vulnerable moments, the times everything felt easy. It keeps the moments that made you think, maybe this really meant something. And it starts muting the rest. The anxiety, the confusion, the overthinking, the waiting, the mixed signals, the disrespect, the nights you felt drained or miserable. This is one of the biggest traps after losing someone who was bad for you. The version of them in your head slowly becomes cleaner than the version you actually lived with. That happens because pain is easier to revisit when it's softened, and longing tends to focus on what was meaningful, pleasurable, or unresolved. So when you miss them, you may not be missing the full reality of who they were. You may be missing the edited version, the version made of the best moments, chemistry, and possibility. 6. Your attachment system doesn't care if the bond is healthy. From an evolutionary point of view, this makes sense. Humans are social creatures. For most of history, being bonded to other people was part of survival. Family, tribe, and partnership all mattered, so our brains evolved to treat important social bonds as a big deal. That means once someone becomes emotionally significant, part of your routine, your expectations, your sense of safety, losing them can feel like a threat, and the attachment system is not very good at quality control. It doesn't ask, was this person emotionally mature? Did they communicate well? Was this relationship healthy? It asks simpler questions. Was this person important? Did I bond with them? Did my brain expect them? Does losing them feel destabilizing? If the answer is yes, your system can react with grief, craving, panic, and obsession, even if the relationship was bad for you. That's why missing someone is not proof they were your soulmate. It's not proof you made a mistake. It's not proof the relationship was secretly right. Sometimes it just means your attachment system did what attachment systems do. It bonded, and now it's struggling with the loss. 7. Sometimes you're not missing them. You're in withdrawal. This is the part people don't talk about enough. After an intense relationship ends, especially one built on inconsistency and emotional highs and lows, your brain can go through something that looks a lot like withdrawal. You keep checking your phone even though you know they won't text. You feel restless. You replay memories over and over. Everything feels flat without them. You crave one more conversation, one more sign, one more moment of relief. That can feel like love, but sometimes it's withdrawal. During the relationship, your brain got used to the stimulation, the anticipation, the dopamine spikes, the relief, the obsession, the emotional activation. When that cycle ends, your system doesn't instantly feel calm. It feels deprived. It feels understimulated. It feels unregulated. It wants the thing it got used to. That doesn't mean the relationship was deep in some special way. It may just mean your brain adapted to chaos and now doesn't know what to do without it. And that can be one of the hardest parts of getting over someone who was bad for you. Your body can keep craving what your mind already knows was harmful. 8. The brain hates unfinished stories. There's one more reason people stay attached to the wrong person. The story never felt finished. Maybe they left suddenly. Maybe they never gave you closure. Maybe they sent mixed signals. Maybe there were things you still wanted to say. Maybe you still don't understand why they changed. The human brain hates open loops. It hates ambiguity. It hates unanswered questions. It hates stories that don't resolve. So when a relationship ends without clarity, your mind keeps trying to solve it. It replays conversations. It searches for clues. It asks questions like, what if I had said something different? Did they ever really care? Was any of it real? Did I matter to them? Could it have worked? Every time your brain goes back to those questions, it keeps the attachment alive. Because now you're not just holding on to the person, you're holding on to the mystery. An unresolved mystery is sticky. 9. What you miss may not be them. It may be what the relationship was doing to your brain. This is the part that can change everything. When you miss someone who was bad for you, it doesn't automatically mean they were special. It doesn't mean you should go back. It doesn't mean the relationship was secretly good. Sometimes it just means your brain got tangled up in attachment, uncertainty, memory, familiarity, and reward. You miss the dopamine. You miss the hope. You miss the relief. You miss the fantasy. You miss the role they played in your day. You miss the future you imagined. You miss the pattern your brain got used to surviving. And that matters because the feeling of missing them is real. But the conclusion you draw from it might be wrong. Missing someone is real, but missing someone is not the same as needing them. It's not the same as being good together. It's not the same as being safe together. It's not the same as healthy love. Sometimes it's just what happens when a human brain gets attached to something intense and then loses access to it. The uncomfortable truth is that the human brain does not always chase what's good for it. Sometimes it chases what feels familiar, what feels unfinished, what once gave relief, what once gave hope, what once made the pain stop for a moment. So if you've ever missed someone who hurt you, confused you, or drained you, that feeling does not make you weak. It doesn't make you irrational, and it doesn't mean they were right for you. It may just mean your brain did what human brains do. It bonded to the pattern, and now it has to learn how to live without it.